If you have a cell phone or a pager, please turn it off or set it to stun. Baruch Dayan Ha'emet, we praise the Judge of Truth. Would like to begin with Psalm 121. Esai enai el haharim me'ayin yavo Ezri. Ezri me'im Adonai se shamayim va'aretz. Al yiten lamot raglecha, al yanum shomrecha. Hine lo yanum velo yishan shomer Yisrael. Adonai shomrecha, Adonai tzidcha al yad yaminecha. Yomam hashemesh lo yakeka v'yarech b'layla. Adonai yishmarcha mikol ra yishmor et nafshecha. Adonai yishmar tzeitcha v'oecha me'ata v'ad olam. I lift my eyes to the mountains. What is the source of my help? My help comes from the Lord, maker of heaven and earth. He will not let your foot give way. Your protector will not slumber. See, the protector of Israel neither slumbers nor sleeps. The Lord is your guardian. He is your protection at your right hand. The sun will not strike you by day, nor the moon by night. The Lord will guard you from all harm. He will guard your soul. You're going and you're coming, now and forever. Death has taken our beloved Nina Golub. Friends grieve in their darkened world. In their silence there is lamentation. In their tears there is loneliness. Lost in their sorrow may they find the presence of loving friends. Hear them, O God, and be with them. For Nina's love that united so many people in life and which death cannot sever. For her companionship that was shared along life's path and which continues through the tenderness of memory. For the gifts of her heart and mind which brought joy and happiness and is now a precious remembrance. For all of these and more, we give our thanks to God. It is a time of sadness. It is a time of grief. And when we listen to the voice of our sacred scriptures, it brings us the ever-new message of God's nearness. It tells us of our kinship with the Creator. In light as in darkness, in joy as in sorrow, in life as in death. We recite together the 23rd Psalm in English. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He maketh me to lie down in green pastures. He leadeth me beside the still waters. He restoreth my soul. He guideth me in straight paths for his name's sake. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for thou art with me. Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. Thou preparest a table before me in the presence of mine enemies. Thou hast anointed my head with oil. My cup runneth over. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I shall dwell in the house of the Lord forever. It is a privilege to call forward Inessa and Andre to speak of her dear mother and mother-in-law, to be followed by Anna to speak of her dear babushka.
I'm going to start to speak in English, and for our friends who will not speak English, I will say everything in Russian language. My mom was a very strong woman. Strongest woman I have ever met. Her childhood was full of hard time. When World War II broke out, she was evacuated into homeless shelter for kids. She was separated from her family for 4 years before her mom, my grandmother, finally found her. And so out of entire life, her motto was, "Everything will be okay." I take after my father. I tend to worry about every situation. My mom always my calming force. She was my constant, and with her I knew everything would be okay. I remember when I was 9 years old, my parents got in a very bad car accident in Belarus. We were vacationing in the country and they left to get more propane for the house. There was a very bad storm and my father lost control of the car, rolling over several times on the road. My mom found the strength to break the glass of the windshield with her foot and threw the full propane tank onto the trees so it wouldn't explode. She treated every situation with the same attitude. We moved to the United States all together in 1995, and she didn't speak English. Despite that, she did everything in her power to build our life here and try to create a better future for her children and grandchildren. She made her family #1 priority through everything. Through her illness, she never gave up. She always said, everything will be okay. Don't give to panic. Even when she was diagnosed with 6 months to live, because of her personality and attitude that everything would be okay, she was with us for 13 more months. In her last year, she told me that she felt like we had switched roles, that I took care of her as I was her mother. I'm sorry, Mom, if I was ever too stern with you when you wouldn't eat. I only did that because you were stern with me when I wouldn't eat as a child. Her last 2 weeks of life were very hard to her and for me, but I know she's in a better place because she's not suffering anymore. And I know I'm also have to be very strong woman because very strong woman raised me. And Mom, everything will be okay. Моя мама прожила очень тяжелую жизнь, у нее было тяжелое детство. Когда началась война, ей было 6 лет, и ее эвакуировали вместе с детьми из детского сада на эшелоне в Хвалынск. И мама ее потеряла на 4 года. Маме дали информацию, что дочка погибла. Но мама ее не переставала, моя бабушка, искать, и она ее в конце войны нашла. Но она всегда, моя мама, говорила, все будет хорошо, не переживай. Многие здесь знают моего папу. Он был большим паникером, и я переняла это от него. Но моя мама всегда говорила мне, Инна, все будет хорошо, не переживай. И всегда все было хорошо благодаря ей. Когда мне было 9 лет, мы отдыхали на даче. И мои родители поехали, чтобы наполнить пропаном баллоны для того, чтобы мы могли готовить. Был сильный очень шторм, и они попали в terrible accident. Машина перевернулась, встала на крышу. И мама нашла в себе силы выбить ногой лобовое стекло, выползти из машины, отбросить полный пропан, полный наполненный газом пропановый баллон в лес, чтобы он не взорвался. И она всегда говорила, все будет хорошо. Когда мы сюда приехали в 95-м году, мама не говорила по-английски, но она делала все для того, чтобы мы могли выучиться, найти хорошую работу, и помогала растить и Аню, и Деню. И когда больше года назад мне сказали, что мама сильно заболела, и нам осталось только 6 месяцев быть вместе, только потому что она была очень сильная женщина. Она была с нами еще целых 13 месяцев. И последний год она мне все время говорила, ты стала моей мамой. Мы поменялись с тобой ролями. И я прошу у нее прощения за то, что я ее заставляла иногда кушать, когда она не хотела. Но я вспоминала, как она меня заставляла кушать, когда я была маленькая. Последние 2 недели были очень тяжелые. И я знаю, что она сейчас находится в лучшем месте, чем когда она лежала, и ей было очень плохо. И я знаю, что я буду сильная, потому что очень сильная женщина воспитала и вырастила меня. Прости меня, мамочка.
First of all, we would like to thank all of you for being here with us today. We want to especially thank our relatives, Rosa and Yana, who made several trips from New Jersey to be here with us for the last few months. Your support meant so much for us. I had the best mother-in-law in the world. I remember when I met her first time, she welcomed me into both her home and family with open arms. No wonder that Nina has become my second mother. She loved the life, she loved her grandchildren, and they also loved her and looked up for her. She was also well known for her love for cooking. There was not a single dish that she didn't make it, and they always turned out fantastic. She was a very kind person, and she will be forever remembered for the love that she spread to her family and other people through her entire life. Even though she is not with us physically today, but her gentle spirit will remain in our hearts forever. Прежде всего, мы хотим поблагодарить всех, кто пришел сегодня, в этот тяжелый день, и разделил с нами эту утрату. Особую благодарность мы выражаем нашим родственникам, Розе и Яне, которые совершили столько поездок из Нью-Джерси за последние месяцы и так сильно помогали. Огромное вам спасибо. Ушла Нина Голуб. Это была самая лучшая теща в мире. Я помню, как произошла наша первая встреча. Она позволила мне войти в ее дом и семью и приняла меня с распростертыми объятиями. Я извиняюсь, очень нелегко говорить сейчас. Да. Надеюсь, она ушла в лучший мир. И сегодня ее нет с нами, но память о ней будет всегда жить в наших сердцах. Прошу прощения.
May we share in the future only good news with each other. Thank you.
I'm not sure I'll do a better job speaking, but I'll try. So last night when I was writing this, I thought to myself, I've known my grandmother for almost 30 years of my life. How lucky am I to have had such an important role model in my life for that long, and how rare it is, especially among my friends, to have someone in your life that has taught you so much. And then I thought about how that still didn't feel long enough. How my mom and her sister and many others long for more time together. And it didn't feel sincere writing this last night either, because how do you put into words feelings you can't describe? How warm a hug from my grandmother could feel, making everything okay, how her love enveloped you like a physical presence. It made you feel full and whole and complete. And how she always put the needs of her family first and was resilient in the face of adversity, even moving to a foreign country. Oh, she survived so many things in her life, but was always quick to smile, offer someone help, especially offer a cooked meal. Her cooking was amazing. And there were so many layers to her life, so many hardships and accomplishments, some of which I'm only now starting to understand. From an early age, she was a constant in my life. A constant healer, from skinned knees to heartbreaks. A constant teacher, from potty training when I was little to learning recipes, and a constant sounding board. She helped raise me. She was unwavering in her love and constant in her encouragement. She always wanted to hear about the new things in our lives, the accomplishments, the trips we were taking, the world we were exploring that was so strange to the one that she grew up in. And she raised an amazing woman, my mom, who's the strongest woman that I've ever known. And she was steady and strong and calm of the face of any storm. And above all, she was a constant source of tenacity and compassion for others. I wish so many things. I wish I could rewind time and focus a little bit deeper and go a little slower to remember the moments we spent together. I wish I would have asked her to share more stories. And I wish I could tell her one more time how much she meant to me, how much I love her. And I know that while physically gone, she'll continue to be with us in spirit at every celebration, at every milestone, especially next year at my wedding. I know we'll celebrate her life today and keep her memory alive every day. And I can't wait to tell my future children what a fierce woman their great-grandmother was and how many people loved her in return. I didn't prepare a translation, so I'm just gonna try to speak from the heart in Russian. Моя бабушка меня вырастила. Мы переехали, мне было 5 лет. И она всегда была... Каждый момент, который я вспоминаю, когда я была маленькая, она всегда там была. Она всегда помогала семье. Она всегда была для нас сильная. И я единственное желаю, что у нас было больше времени, чтобы я могла спросить ее про ее жизнь и запомнить моменты, чтобы я могла моим детям рассказать один день. Мы ее очень любили и будем любить. И я знаю, что моя мама самая сильная женщина, которую я знаю. Это из-за моей бабушки. Спасибо. Thank you.
And to all of those words really spoken as a prayer, let us say Amen. Before the service, Rabbi Dessler and I had an opportunity to talk a little bit, and he was talking about how what an amazing worker Inessa is. And she's organized, and she puts things together, and she fixes everything. And you have 300 people working with you, and if you need something done, she's the one you really go to. And this is so much, door to door, from generation to generation, from her dear mother as she learns it. The daughter, the granddaughter of Nina, obviously she will have this too. She has this ability, she will develop it. Her sister, these are good, strong people. And it's always good to know people when you need something, who to go to. Everybody can't do the same thing. This morning we gather, we pause, we reflect. We express gratitude for the life of your dear Nina Golub, Nechama bat Nochim. His mother's name was Basia. She was a wonderful sister, intelligent, devoted, and she was devoted to her family so much. A good wife and a good mother, a good babushka. She didn't say a bad word about others. She loved life and she was very strong-willed. Some would even say stubborn. But stubborn isn't necessarily a bad thing if you stubbornly love someone. Yesterday, as we talked about Nina, and growing up as Jews, constrained by the shackles of communism in the Soviet Union, you know, most Jews did not practice much outwardly. Jewish education had been outlawed since 1917 in the Bolshevik Revolution. Jews were Jewish in their hearts, you know, a Jewish neshama, but in Nina's family, they engaged in more than that. It was against the law, but when it was time for Pesach, for Passover, her father Nochem picked up matzah. You know, you pick up matzah at night. You don't pick it up during the day where the KGB can see you. You pick it up at night. Or you bake it at night. It's at night. Some of the plagues happen at night, but this is not about that. This is about the dedication of these people to keep Judaism the best they could. Always at night. So yesterday as we talked, it was a poignant, a bittersweet story which came to my mind. In 1948, Golda Meir went to the Soviet Union. She went as the first Israeli ambassador, and no one knew how the Russian Jews would react. Since Jewish education had been illegal since 1917 and the Bolshevik Revolution, which we know, you know, perhaps all the Jews were gone. So she opened the Israeli embassy for tea on Friday evenings, not Shabbos services, for tea. And some came. However, local Jews were warned to stay away from the Israeli delegation, and the Israelis were warned to stay away, you know, from any of your family who might, be from Russia. It was 70 years ago, 1948. On Rosh Hashanah, word spread that Golda was coming to services for Rosh Hashanah at the Choral Synagogue, big synagogue in Moscow. And tens of thousands of Jews came to meet her outside. You can see the newsreels, the black and white newsreels. And Golda wrote in her autobiography, instead of the 2,000 Jews who usually came to synagogue on the holidays, it was a crowd of maybe 50,000 waiting for us. And for a minute I could not grasp what had happened, or even who they were. And then it dawned on me. She said they had come, these good, brave Jews, in order to demonstrate their sense of kinship and to celebrate the establishment of the State of Israel. And they called her Golda, Golda, and they lined up to touch her, to wave to her, to welcome her. And she wrote in her autobiography, she was so moved she could barely speak. And she didn't know much Yiddish, but she knew Gedank, Gedank. Thank you, she said. Thank you for remaining Jews. And it's similar today as we look at one another, even in the sadness over the loss of Nina, a sense of gratitude should well up in our hearts. Thank you for remaining Jews. She was born in Minsk, Belarus on April 3rd, 1935. Her parents of blessed memory, Nochem and Basia. She was the firstborn and is survived by her younger, we talked about much younger sister, Rosa. Rosa was 13 years younger than Nina because of World War II, or the Russians call it the Great War. World War II. Your father, Nochem, was in the Red Army and he was discharged in 1947 and then baby in 1948. But that's why 13 years separates the two of them. You were born the same year that the state of Israel was established, a good year. As you have heard, there was a lot of trauma in Nina's early life. You know, people respond to trauma differently. Some people are crushed by it, and some people rise. This is a woman who rose. World War II started in the Soviet Union June 22nd, 1941, and her father Nochem went off in the Red Army to fight the Germans, the Nazis. Nina was 6 years old. In Minsk, the children were evacuated by train to Khvalynsk in Siberia. I was trying to find it on a map. I couldn't find it, but it's along the train route. And as you know, there were evacuations of other cities, and some went from Odessa by boat, or Kiev, or this they went by train. After some time, Nina's mother, Basia, received a note, a communication saying that Nina had died on the train. There had been a bomb, probably the Germans, coming with a plane that bombed the train, and she died. But the good, stubborn woman that Basia was, and passed this on to Nina, she didn't believe it. She refused to believe it. So the Russians had hospitals on trains, like a boat can be a hospital. It's a train, it's a hospital. And Basia worked on one of them. And in 1944, she was able to find Nina, where the train had dropped them off. And Basia found Nina, and she brought her back to Minsk. Nina was very weak, and she suffered from malnutrition and malaria. The children ate potato peel soup. You peel a very thin soup. You peel the potatoes, you put it in water, potato peel soup. Can you imagine eating such a thing? So since that time, from her early childhood, Nina left nothing. She never left anything on her plate. But she understood this about herself. I mean, as you get older, you understand the mishigas in your head a little bit. You should. She understood that. So she would say to her daughter, she would say, Inessa said, my mom told me not to put too much food on her plate. She wasn't very hungry, and she didn't want to eat very much. And she knew whatever I put on her plate, her emotions would make her eat it. So she told me not to fill up her plate too much, because she would eat everything on the plate. Nochem and Basia came from large families. He was the youngest of 9 children. Only 5 survived the war. She was the youngest of 8 children. Only 2 survived the war. So each and every one of us is important. She was blessed with family. Her sister Rosa recalled, Nina took care of me because our parents worked. Since she was 13 years older than me, she was like a mother to me. She was a wonderful sister, and when she was dating, I tried to sabotage her dates. I imagine what a little sister can do, right? Behind the couch or say something funny. I tried to sabotage her dates, but she never said a bad word about anybody, said Rosa. Also, she's blessed with Rosa's daughter. So Nina has a niece, Yana, and a husband, Roman, and then the great nephews and niece. We have Jacob, Zachary, and Isabel. Nina met Simon Manovich in 1961, or Simon. He was a professional officer in the Air Force. He was a major. The things were not easy for him in the Air Force, and sometimes things were not easy for her where she worked. Difficulties because you're a Jew. Simon and Nina were engaged for more than 4 years, which is a long time in Russia, because usually people meet, they engage, get married. But 4 years, it was a long engagement. They were married January 1966, and they shared a marriage of 40 years at the time of his death. In 2006, she will be laid to rest right next to him at the cemetery. Blessed with a daughter, Inessa, her husband Andre, and 2 grandchildren, Anna, her fiance Matthew, and Daniel. There's 15 years between Anna and Daniel. Maybe in the family there's big gaps. She was a bright lady. She loved to learn. After high school graduation in Minsk, she worked at a place that, this was a really horrible translation, University of Energy and Gas. Yana was like this big, huge Russian thing, and she's like, well, it's like University of Energy and Gas. She was a librarian there. Inessa recollected, Mom helped me all my life. She was a very calm person, and as we know, she always said, it'll be okay. Mom and Dad raised Anna, and because that's what Russians and Jews do. You know, the grandma, the grandparents help with the kids, the grandchildren. And Mom and Dad helped us to achieve the American dream. Back in 1986, the Chernobyl nuclear accident, and she was exposed to some of that nuclear fallout, as many people were, and she got sick, which, of course, deteriorated over the course of time. Over the years, even though she had very many illnesses, she was very strong-willed. She never wanted to live in a nursing home. And I kept my promise, Inessa said. She wanted to live life. She loved life. She still had her mind with her, which is a blessing. She had many visitors, but she was also very stubborn. She didn't want anybody to see her with the oxygen tank. So she didn't want anybody to see her with the oxygen. It's a beautiful picture of her. And also, she declined pain medication. She wanted to be aware of her surroundings. She just didn't want to float off into some. She breathed her last, and she passed away just before Shabbat came on Friday. In the afternoon, she breathed her last. She was in hospice care at Hillcrest Hospital, but only for a couple of days. She had a Yiddish neshama. She had a good, loving, caring, and tenacious Jewish soul. And now her soul is at peace, and it's a time of rest for her. There's no more deterioration. There's just rest and wholeness and peace. Her soul is returning to God, to be with the souls of her dear husband and family and relatives and ancestors of our people. We learn this in Ecclesiastes chapter 12, verse 7. The dust returns to the earth as it was. The spirit returns to God who gave it. And one day all of us will join the souls of our dear ones in Olam Haba, the world to come. It's not a place. This is a place. Olam Haba is a time. It's a spiritual time where God will take care of the souls of our dear loved ones and ours as well. You have many, many memories of Nina. And we give thanks to God for this gift of long life, 83 years. And as Anna said, and like everyone else thinks too, you want more time. You want much more time. And you also want time in good health. So we thank God for the gift of this life. And as you think of her, be more eager to help and serve others. Cook some of those tremendous recipes. Let everybody know, just like she encouraged people, it will be okay, even as difficult as it is. So we conclude with words from the first chapter of the book of Job. Adonai natan v'Adonai lakach, Yehi Shem Adonai mevarach. The Lord hath given, the Lord hath taken away. Blessed be the name of the Lord. Amen. Ose shalom bimromav, hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'imru yimru amen. Ya'aseh shalom, ya'aseh shalom, Shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, Yaseh shalom, Yaseh shalom, Shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. May God, who causes peace to reign in the high heavens, may God cause peace to rain down upon us, upon all Israel, and upon the soul of our dearly departed Nina Golub, and let us say, Amen. Please rise for El Malei Rachamim. Into your care, O God, we entrust the spirit of Nina. For you keep faith with your children in death as in life. Sustain us that we may meet with serenity the mysteries that lie ahead, knowing that when we walk through the valley of the shadow of death, you, O God, are with us, a loving friend in whom we put our trust. You are the light of our life, our hope in eternity. El Malei Rachamim, Shochen Bamromim, Hametzeh Menucha Nechona, Tachat Kanfei Hashchina, Im Kedoshim Utohorim, Kezohar Akia Masirim, Et Nishmat Nechama Bat Nochem V'Basya, Shehalacha L'Olama, Ba'al Harachamim, Yastireha B'Seter Kenafav Le'olamim, Vayitzror B'Tzor HaChaim, Et Nishmata, Adonai hu nachalata, v'tanuach b'shalom al mishkava, v'nomar, Amen. Compassionate God, eternal Spirit of the universe, grant perfect rest in your sheltering presence to Nechama Bat Nochem V'Basya, our dear Nina Golub. She has entered eternity. O God of mercy, let her find refuge in the shadow of your wings, and let her soul be bound up in the bond of everlasting life. God is her inheritance. May she rest in peace, and let us say, Amen. In a moment now, the funeral directors will come in and give us directions as we go in procession. We'll recite Kaddish at the grave after we do the quick cover. And the family is receiving at Mirage at Mayfield and Green right after the service at the cemetery, and then at their house from 5 until 6:30. 6583. And so if you care to make donations in her loving memory, any good place would be a fine repository for your tzedakah. So this week we pause now and go to the cemetery.